So today we're going to be going over the brand new model that just dropped from Matt Schumer, which is just actually a fine tune of an existing model that we've tested before on this channel. And this morning I wanted to give you guys a chance to look at that. I got it up and running last night. And this is coming from Mr. Matt Schumer. Links to all this stuff in the description below. And this is called Reflection 7dB. And the claim is that this is topping the open source models and also the paid models out there in several categories. So I wanted to actually take a chance to run through this with you guys today because we've in the past ran the Llama 3.1 7dB on this channel. Today, we're going to take a look at the new Reflect 7dB in two variants, the 4-bit quant and the 8-bit quant. And this is through Ollama, following along on the same system that I've just shown you guys how to put together, which if you haven't taken a chance to look at it, you can find out more information about that by going to the channel website on YouTube that I have. And we've got tons of additional videos and also on the website, digitalspaceport.com, where I've got the written guide also on the all-in-one Ollama AI rig. And again, this is a quad 3090 machine. And you can see it over here. We've got the console pulled up and I am running NVTop in the console right now so we can see the activity propagate over. Of course, we've got Ollama running in the back end as one of the backends here. And you can, if you sort by newest, see the new reflection models that are available here. A lot of polls that have happened on this really quick, so quite popular so far for people checking this out. And there is an FP16. I don't have enough VRAM to run that. However, I do have enough VRAM to run the 7dB in Q8, and I've also got it in Q4. So we'll take a look at what those sizes look like. And I've got some good news to people who have dual 24 gigabyte GPUs. So make sure you watch along as we get to that point here also. If you're wondering how you can get up and started, do check out some of the videos in this channel's history because I take you step through step on how to set up a both LXC with Docker inside it, highly flexible deployment, and also a complete bare metal deployment. So those are two very different methods of going about how you might set up a instance. And I wanted to give people a lot of the software background on this. It became pretty quickly apparent to me how difficult it is to get things like Docker right. And there's a lot of people that have asked questions alluding to they didn't have it right. And I wanted to make sure that I got everybody squared away as good as I could. So you can see here, I've got the Reflection latest and also the 7dB with Q8. And that is going to be, we'll just go with the latest here. And as soon as we load this up over here in Dockage, we should be able to see, and we use Dockage for managing the Docker interface of the Open Web UI container. As soon as we ask it a question here, hello, just to get it pre-warmed up, we should be able to get an initial gauge on how many tokens per second. Now, if you recall from the prior testing, Llama 3.1 7dB was right around 17.8 to 18 tokens per second on this rig. So we're going to be testing that again with the Q4, and it looks like it may have kicked out. Okay. And so this is one of the things that it's known for doing here, the reflection model. Thinking, and it does this in brackets and also outputting. Now, I don't see the reflection bracket here, but I'm going to ask the same questions that I asked last time. And a lot of people have asked, are these good questions? No, they're not. But I am working with somebody on coming up with better questions. However, this does give us a direct comparison to what we tested last time. Again, that was Grok 2 Mini versus Llama 3.1 7dB. So we'll go ahead here and just start out with, you are an expert Python developer. Create a Flappy Bird game clone called Flappy Block Extreme in Python, which proved fairly difficult for either of the prior two to actually get correct. We'll see whether it's able to reflect and generate something better here. And this looks slower for sure. And I'm not sure how this is going to come out. I can almost see something that I would expect to be there that's not there yet. Well, that's finishing. Let's see here. So this was 18.31 tokens per second on that generation. Oh dear. It blew itself out of the code blocks. Oh, didn't it? It did. So this is a hot mess of a start for this. Let me see if I can actually coach it to put this all in code blocks. Okay. Oh, now it's importing sys. Okay. Now it's importing sys. It did just invent that it was going to do that. I'm pretty sure it was not doing that before. So this has gotten quite a lot of hype. And there's been people saying, no, no good. There's been people saying, yes, this is great. There's tons of media playing on it. I'm not going to pass judgment on it, but I look forward to you passing judgment on it in the comments below. 1.7 million views. That's a lot of views. That is a lot of views. And if this is true and it holds up to evaluations from other people out there, and certainly this is something you can evaluate in your own home, then we could be learning something about chain of thought and also what we're actually possibly the next wave of it could be. Okay, so let's get back over here. Okay, great. So let me go ahead and copy this code block here. We'll go to Visual Studio Code. Oh, no. Okay. That's a very bad implementation of Flappy Block Extreme. However, it did kind of function. So I have yet to see something nail that one the first time out. It is a harder challenge with what information I've given it, but definitely I have seen some of the models able to refine this down with about 4 to 6 turns into something that is fairly decent that you could play for maybe 30 seconds. So that is slightly optimistic. So there was our first question that we got out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and rate that as pretty much a fail. I would have rated that as a fail on the others. The next one that we're going to do is a human interaction part, creative storytelling. And this is one of the ones that is definitely going to change here. But let's go ahead here and close out. I keep seeing that tab wrong. And we'll run this. And you can see that the VRAM usage that we have here is only about 50% in these. And I'm not sure if we've already gone past the loading. No, we haven't. Okay, cool. So should be right about here. So the model size for VRAM is going to be right around 37.22 gigabytes that you would need to run this. So if you have two 16 gigabyte cards, not going to do it. However, if you have two 24 gigabyte cards, you will be able to do that. That's two A5000s, A6000s, of course, most of the other bigger stuff than that, and also 3090s and 4090s. Man, that's a blast from the past. All right, so you're going to love this. Do you remember that time we were eating lunch in the cafeteria during our freshman year at community college? Around 2005 to 2006. Okay, so we're sitting at this table, and one of the reasons that I do like actually doing multi-turn and pivoting as fast as possible on these models is because that is actually something I consider to be a core functional weakness of LLMs, and that is something that I think when we get that solved, a lot of people's complaints and also expectations will be redefined. So seeing whether or not it can maintain that. And it actually seems like it did a fairly decent job here. Anyway, Tiffany in that whole emo goth scene, and I was desperate to fit in. So I started telling her about how much I love My Chemical Romance, which, by the way, is a great band. But here's the thing. All right. I never actually listened to their music before. As I'm talking, I get more and more into using all the pretentious music terms like post-hardcore and emo revival. I mean, were we using emo revival in 2005 versus 2006? I feel like I was listening to My Chemical Romance, but it was 2009. And maybe emo revival was said every now and then. I don't know. But then disaster strikes. The cafeteria starts playing some weird elevator music, and Tiffany asks me what song it is. And in a sheer moment of panic, I start rapping along to the tune, thinking Vanilla Ice meets Emo Boy. You lost it at that point, bro. You just started cracking up. Tears streaming down your face. Tears streaming down my face. I like that addition to it. I feel like there could be some pictures drawn here also. I was so embarrassed, but also kind of impressed by my own absurdity. Tiffany looked at me like I'd lost my mind, and we never really hung out again after that. So yeah, I mean, whether this is a fun story, but being able to make something up that is actually succinct does actually, and I think this actually does a better job than what I saw prior. I'm going to actually pass this one, and I think I failed both of them last time. So, all right. Okay, deductive interpretation and problem solving. So I have this based on a question just to see what the chain of thought is, more than to score outright what I think being purposefully vague. Actually, I'm being purposefully vague. But it's fun to see what kind of the thoughts laid out are. Now, I don't see the reflection breaking things out into its tabs. Will we see that in the other one? We'll just have to wait and see here. But it doesn't seem to be reflecting. Like, that's what it's known for, is that reflection. I'm not seeing that. We saw it in that first sentence, but it doesn't seem to be doing that. Should I remind it to actually be cognizant of doing that? I don't know. Okay, so there are 4 special keys in the world. I have 2 keys, but it's uncertain if they're special or not. So it did go ahead and give me a probability, and it shouldn't have given me any probability because it could have asked me additional questions about it. It could have made additional assumptions about it. Instead, it just, neither of my keys is special. Unfortunately, this means I have no chance of opening the door. So what's the probability that I can open the door with at least one of my 2 keys? So it did get it up here, but unfortunately it did not get it in its answer. So that's closer than I saw the others come, but still a fail. We'll see whether or not it can get that. This is the cat question, and this is understanding the nature of things. And this is basically, if you have a cat and you leave a door open and that cat is a run out the door kind of a cat, you should expect it to run out the door. So we'll ask it this question and see what it comes up with. Basically, the ending of this question is, where is the cat? And so you have a cat. The cat likes to escape and run out any door if there's ever an open door. Key fact. You need to take your cat to the vet. You have a carrier for the cat that has 1 door. You load the cat into the carrier and close the door. You take the carrier to the car and open the door. You get into the carrier, you get in with the carrier. The cat likes to get out of the carrier when in the car, so you open the carrier door and let the cat out during the drive. When you get to the vet's office, you put the cat back into the carrier. You then open the door to the car and transport the carrier into the vet's office. So if you're paying attention, I did not reclose after I put the cat back into the carrier and open my door to go in. So the cat's carrier is open as I've opened the door, and I'm now carrying the cat in the open door carrier into the vet's office. How does that turn out? Well, probably not that good. You are now inside the vet's office. Every action that has happened has been explicitly stated. Assume no extra actions have been taken. Where is the cat? A clever scenario. I don't know if it's clever, although I have done this myself before, and luckily I was able to catch that cat. Let's go through the sequence of events. The cat is loaded into the carrier and the door is closed. The carrier is taken to the car and the car door is open. The cat is still inside the carrier. You get into the carrier and open the carrier door, letting the cat out during the drive. Now the cat is loose inside the car. Yes, and true. True story. This is me recounting a silly but true story that happened to me. When you arrive at the vet's office, you put the cat back in the carrier. The cat is now back inside the carrier. You then open the door to the car and transport the carrier into the vet's office. Since there was no mention of opening the carrier again and letting the cat out of the carrier after it was loaded back in, we conclude that the cat is currently inside the carrier, which is inside the vet's office. Did I get it right? No, it didn't. The cat would be bolted off because I did not close the door, and it missed that fact. Understanding the nature of things, going to give it that fail again on that also. So the This one is really just about mindfulness. And this is trying to find out whether or not it's paying attention. So here's a random sentence about a cat. And I ask it to write a random sentence about a cat and then tell me the number of words that it wrote me in that sentence. The curious gray cat pounced on a fluttering butterfly outside. And it gave me 9 as the answer there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is a fail on that one, unfortunately, for it. So this has me questioning a lot of what I'm reading here. This seems to be lining up. Now, this is the 4B. We're going to run the 8B, run the same things. But at the 4B, I can definitely tell you this feels like the 7D 4B also felt. So not seeing anything that's throwing me any, wow, everything's changed. Okay, so next one is mathematical question. This one probably trained into things by this point in time, or fine-tuned into things, if you will. And yes, it did get that right. So I think fooling things on that will be harder and harder. I do have an order of magnitude one, though, that I haven't seen people testing. And that one, I think it'll be a good test. There's no rigor coming around the testing. You are a cook. Here's a list of 5 ingredients: bacon, potato, onion, cheddar cheese, and eggs. Your task is to create a delicious recipe from only these ingredients. Include all steps, temperatures, measurements, and times. So I really wish it was giving us its thought process here, because that is one thing that definitely, I have no idea whether it's actually reflecting on things. The amount of activity looks very similar to what I saw before from the 70B as far as the processing that's being utilized. As far as the wattage, we're at 860 watts right now on the system. These things are all very much in line. Okay, so it's having to make a frittata. And you check the recipe here and let me know whether or not this delicious frittata sounds like something that is plausible. It does actually. Okay, so preheat the oven, grease 9-inch pan, potato and onion mixture, followed by half an egg mixture, sprinkle salt and pepper to taste. Okay, so it added in salt and pepper, which were not part of the ingredients, but I guess it's okay. Everybody fudges on salt and pepper. I don't see it actually fudging on other results here. So that's a good sign that it didn't fudge on other results. Okay, and so now I'm going to give it a question that I think these are practicality questions. These are what we really need from assistants in the future, help making decisions about things like budget, especially with tough economic times. So you are a cook, you spend I want to spend $100 at the grocery store and eat for a week. I'm a single person and I don't currently have any food ingredients. Your task is to create me a shopping list and a meal plan for every meal of every day of the week. Target a healthy caloric daily level for a 40-year-old male. Include a recipe for each meal with measurements, instructions, preparation times, temperatures, and cook times. These are the kind of things that I'm actually after: recipes, help, assistance, bouncing ideas about, what would be the price for things. This does not add up to $100, I don't think either. I'm looking at this. Oh, geez. No, that's way off. Way off. Although it's got a marinara sauce, so I'm excited. Okay. Didn't give me the price here. And it does look like the meal plan is coming along. I haven't seen anything. Okay. So there's onion, olive oil, brown rice, black beans. Onions, olive oil. Onions are there. Definitely don't see olive oil. This is actually a fail. It's way off base. Grok actually excelled at this. So let's see. Here's the next one. You are a physical fitness coach. Your task is to provide a 40-year-old male that is 6 foot tall and 200 pounds with a weekly workout plan that includes exercise name, exercise instruction, duration, and of repetitions for each exercise, expected calories burned, to achieve a year-end weight goal of 186 pounds. Assume prior recommended dietary and meal plan are used. Okay, so I'm going to stop that since it failed. Okay, so this time it is doing it. So it brought in the thinking tag this time. I don't know why it hasn't been bringing in the thinking tag. We're going to switch over to the 8B model. I will tell you, if you wanted to run reflection, you can do it in Ollama. It is very easy. So yeah, if you got two 4090s or two 3090s or two A5000s, I guess if you had three 16 gigabyte cards, you'd be able to maybe also. Some combination that gets you to, what was that VRAM utilization that we were looking at? 37.22 gigabytes. So there's a fair amount of combinations. And for inference, you can string quite a few things together. So don't feel like you have to have tons of bandwidth. Like what I put together here is so that we can also train on it. It can also stomp during a lot of other types of tasks, but also you do not need full PCIe risers. For instance, if you're just doing inference, you can get by with smaller risers, because as you look at the data that's actually flowing on the buses over here, 69 kilobytes, 22 kilobytes, very little data is actually flowing back and forth at the moment. This seems actually fairly decent as far as the approximations for the calories burned. So remember to give me warm-ups and cooldowns. That's nice. It's giving me a rest day. Good. Chest and triceps on Monday. What did I just see on Sunday? Okay. For some reason, it went back and is giving me more. Oh, okay. So here's the output. Okay, so now we're seeing it here. Did it actually toss in the reflection tags? No, it didn't. So interesting. It just went directly to the output. So here's the weekly workout plan. Okay, so it actually did give me full instructions before, and it is apparently decided in the output to remove the instructions, which was part of the instructions. So I'm going to give that a fail. Had it gone with its original impetus, it would have been okay. So we can see that this actually, from my very unscientific, very just real world use cases, looks like it scored, I would call this almost exactly where the Llama 3.1 scored in the prior incarnations. So I'm interested to learn more about what other people are seeing that might be leading them down this pathway, but it also could be that they're using the FP16 and I am not using the FP16. So I don't think I have enough VRAM on cards, although I do have the capability, if I replace the motherboard with a different motherboard, I've got an extra Threadripper. It's possible. Weekend's coming up. I might do it. But I could get 7 GPUs in there. I'm going to have to work on the power thing, because the power is no bueno that I've got here right now. I could get there. 140 some? Yeah, I could get there. Okay, so let's switch over now to the 7DB. I'm going to go ahead and just delete this chat and go over to a new chat. And that new chat is going to be with our friend, the Q8. Okay, and Q8 is on deck here. So let me give it a quick howdy. That way it can warm up and we can see what kind of tokens per second we should be expecting here. I definitely know it's slower. And as we're loading up here, we haven't got to the point yet. It's just finished unloading the other model, and it'll start loading up this model here pretty quickly. And you can take a look over on your terminal output. Again, Dockage is a good Docker manager for inside the LXC with pass-through. This allows you to run multiple LXCs and multiple Dockers on the same system. Something that's not capable without, a lot of additional finesse and stuff like that. And I've done all that hard work showing you guys how to do that. So make sure you check out those videos in the history on this channel. Okay, so 69.82 gigabytes for this one. That's much larger. So that is very, very much larger. That's twice the size, which we would expect, Quant 4 to Quant 8 here. And originally done as a FP16, so I believe that's going to be even larger still. Really wish I could run that. Am I going to do it? No, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Let me know in the comments below whether or not you would like me to do that. So gave it a simple hello and it's replying back. I can tell this is a bit slower and it also is doing the tags like it's supposed to, about 10.72 tokens per second on that. So I would say that's a good deal slower. Now let's run it through the same test that we did just a few seconds ago. So I'm not going to read these off to you. And these are multi-turn. So like I said, it's, in my opinion, a good idea. It is doing the thinking tags again also, but it is a good idea to test it out as consistently as possible. This does allow me to do that. It's not giving me a very good format to do that, so I forgot to code block it, it looks like. So that seems to be different, that it is consistently forgetting to code block it, and that could have to do with the fact that it's throwing in content or contexts. I don't know, reflection. Okay, here we go. I mean, it's doing some crazy stuff here as far as formatting. Like, this is some crazy formatting that it's got going on here. But I do think that it is optimistic. Okay, so now that okay, hold on a second. Now that we're on the Q8, so things are changing. It just stopped. To give me a code block, will it name it Flappy Block Extreme again? All right, let's give this code a run. Okay. Gonna have to give it a fail on that. The spacebar is not functioning whatsoever for being able to move the character, unfortunately, on it. But it did at least provide a title. It didn't take the title away. So it had some better, but also some worse. Still a fail. All right. Let's go ahead with the human interaction and see what its creative storytelling is like and whether it'll do the reflection. That's kind of, no, it didn't. It just launched into the story here. Okay. Interesting. Now, this is a story that I could swear that we've seen before. The mystery meat theme was something that was very, very popular. So this is looking much more like the Llama 3.1 on this. That's a very similar, not completely 100% to the prior Llama 3.1 7dB that we ran. And I didn't find it to be quite that funny myself. So you tell me what you think. Still a long ways off. I'm going to give that a fail, actually, where the other one was, it was at least succinct, which is something that it's pretty hard to get out of any of these models. We're a far way off. I'm excited that I'm in now. I got interested in AI stuff because I think where we're at now is like a really good time to start paying a lot of attention to it. A really good time to actually like learn and use it to better yourself. There's a lot of things I'm behind on. Luckily, some of the sysops and like hardware side of it, I'm not that far behind on. So I think that I can add value there. As far as some of the software that's actually being run and some of the terminology, there's a lot of difficult concepts around it. So I think a lot of people should be thinking about that. So it brought in the thinking tag and then it brought in an output tag. Okay. Well, it kind of falls by the same wayside as the other models as far as being able to context what the actual risks would be with that number of keys and doors. Let's see if it can understand the cat and the carrier. And again, you can go back and watch the results from the stock Llama 3.1 7dB and also Grok 2 Mini. I need to go back and retest Grok now that Grok 2 Full has been released. You know, and I feel like this is, it keeps jumping through thinking and then to output without the reflection. That just seems to be happening, I'm noticing in this. It's kind of bizarre, but the cat is in the carrier, which is inside the vet's office. Well, I don't think so. You can see we are definitely using more VRAM here also. I mean, we are definitely double the VRAM that we were before. Okay, write me one random sentence about a cat and then tell me the number of words written in that sentence. Let's see if I can get this one. Okay, good. At least it caught that. Now, I did recognize that things were catching on the 405B, which I've ran, which everybody's asking me to run the 405B. It runs it under 1 token per second for the most part. So it's very slow. I don't necessarily think most people want me to run that. It's a little bit too slow for my liking. Let's do the mathematician question here. I would imagine that it's going to get this correct. Okay. And now the cooking with 5 ingredients. What kind of questions would you ask? It's doing a frittata again. Now I want a frittata. So 10 is pretty easy to read, and I think we're going about 10 here still. 10.5, yeah. It's pretty easy to read as it's coming out. And for certain things, it's kind of slow also. So again, the reflect doesn't, in my instance here for some reason, seem to be reflecting. I don't understand that. Is there something, I get the thinking and I get the output, but where's the reflection that you're known for? You are called reflect. I almost feel like I should ask it to do that, but I feel like that would also taint the testing. You guys tell me. I don't know what's going on there. Let's see how well it can go through and come up with a shopping list. Do I think this is revolutionarily outpacing other models based on what I'm seeing so far? Not at the Q8. I thought it was going to start out kind of better off with the reflection, but I'm not seeing where the reflection's happening on this currently. So could totally be user error. You tell me what I'm doing wrong. I do read the comments and I will comment back, but I don't see it at this point. I think this is a fun test, and I'm glad that people are fine-tuning these things and bringing a reflection into kind of the milieu of possibilities instead of kind of chaining the thoughts together, I think is probably a decent approach to it. I have no idea how they trained it or how they got around to that, but I do think there is tons and tons of interest in this right now, which is, will you be disappointed if these are your results? I don't know. Sweet potatoes, green beans. Did you have me? Okay. I mean, this is a killer list, actually. I do like this. This is pretty good. I might save this. Avocado toast with scrambled eggs, 400 calories. Probably a bit more. I'm going to give this an actual pass because this is pretty darn good as far as the meal plan. Now, where's the shopping list? I think it did a smart thing by putting together the meal plan first and then coming up with the shopping list, as long as it's able to make those things happen at this price point. I'm seeing some stuff that, I don't know, maybe it could happen for $100. I don't know. I noticed that it's omitting its estimations of the costs. So smart thing to do there. If you are, okay, 2 to 3 pounds of salmon fillets are not going to be that cheap. I don't know if I can get this for $100. This is shaping up to be okay. I think it recognized that and went for 100 to 120, which honestly, I think about 125 does look kind of closer to that. Overall, I'm going to give this one a pass also, though. This is really good. This is really good. That might be one of the best responses I've had out of a model yet to this kind of question, which, I mean, this is the useful kind of stuff that I think a lot of people actually ask. And I know some people like to set up artificial questions to test out certain logical things. whether or not you're ever going to see that in real world use is a big concern that I have, because is that useful to the average person? I'm trying to make it useful. And the questions that we have refined coming up are actually very useful to a normal person out there also. But there are some tough ones. But there are some practical measurement ones, some construction related ones, some cool things. I think construction also being able to ask an assistant certain things about measurements. Oh, I think that we'll find some fun things, and they're not real world questions. I think that's important also. Okay, I like that it set out that the goal is to burn an additional 250 to 500 calories per day through physical activity. Sounds pretty good. Going to have me burning quite a bit more than that in some of these days, but this is a good workout set. This is a good workout set. I like that it's giving me a little bit of spacing out and not just stacking like upper body all together. So starting out with cardio, going to upper body strength training, lower body strength training, giving me a day off. Friday is another cardio day. Saturday and Sunday are both days off. So I think this is actually pretty decent. So I think actually the reflection model does, I would actually go ahead and change what I was saying earlier. While I'm not blown away by its mathematical prowess or its logic or its ability to be human-like, it does actually do some really good things that are practical and useful. Things like giving me ingredients, cooking lists, physical fitness ideas, and budgets, and trying to stay within those budgets with a shopping list. Very useful things. However, some of the things like deductive interpretation and understanding the nature of things still falling short might be a hard one for a LLM with current methodologies out there to actually get that. That might be one of those better search things versus deeper search. A human interaction and creative storytelling. I did not actually think this one was better than the other one, but I don't think this is a good prompt, to be honest with you. And the code test, I have yet to see one come out that is great. I've seen a couple come out that are actually fairly decent with 2 or 3 revisions. And maybe I change the coding test to something a little less rigorous than a Flappy Bird clone. That is, I'm not given a lot of information here either. So I probably would need to go ahead and give it a little bit more elaboration. There's a lot happening. Make sure you hit like and subscribe to this channel. Let me know what you think about the model. I'm not myself blown away, but at the same time, I'm not running synthetic benchmarks against it that most of the other people that are looking at this and talking about it are. So Matt Schumer was talking about the scores that it was getting versus some of the other models out there, Claude 3.5 Sonnet, Opus, ChatGPT 4.0, Gemini 1.5 Pro, and Llama 3.1 405B. There will be a 405B version variant of this that's coming. I do look forward to that. Not because I'll be able to run it on my hardware, most likely, and running these things on, system RAM. Even the fastest computer in the world, a 7995WX with 256 gigabytes of 6400 speed DDR5 that can open over 10,000 tabs in Chrome, still runs these things really way too slow for them to be considered useful or functional at all. So I will be maybe looking for where I can find an H100 cluster to do some testing on that. But I'm mainly involved in this for doing things in the home. I think that's probably one of the biggest things that we've got. And I do have some great, exciting home automation stuff with Home Assistant coming up. And I've got 2 new little dudes coming in because I am getting rid of all of these. They're all gone. So many gone. I had 9 of them. So they're all out of here now. And I feel great about that because we're going to be bringing back local control. And these have just gotten so horrible over the past couple of years, but that's all going to be tied in through our local LLM. More learning and exciting things. Let me know in the comments below what you guys want to see. It's the weekend. I got some time to maybe shoot something. I hope you guys have a good one. I will check you out next time.